So now, I suppose we'll start work. So what do we do? Well, I'll plug in the flash drive I have here. This is a 32 gig flash drive. And it's totally blank. Brand new. So here's Rufus. And I have my flash drive here. And I have this set up pretty close to how I want it, but I've got to select the correct Debian Live image. So we open. And surprisingly, it's that easy. Basically, I just have it set up like this. I will not rename the volume from what they want us to name it. I think maybe that's tempting fate a little bit too much. So Rufus will now format or reformat this flash drive for FAT32, and we'll make it into a Debian Live flash drive. Okay, so they're asking us whether we want to write in ISO image mode or write in DD image mode. In my earlier testing, I found out that the reason they recommend ISO image mode is the DD image mode doesn't really work correctly. They don't like to broadcast that, but that is in fact the reason. So I guess that's just how it is. ISO image mode works just fine. So we'll say OK. So naturally they give us a warning. OK, because this flash drive is only meant for this purpose for the moment. And this will not be blazing fast. I will actually jump ahead. So it's completed. And if you look up here, you can see the title of the flash drive is changed accordingly. But it's not really ready yet, because to have a persistent partition, it needs to have a persistent partition. Simply having the one very large FAT32 partition for the whole thing, for whatever reason, that doesn't work. So that will be the next step. As stated earlier, this is my preferred partition utility. You don't have to use this. It's IOMI. There's my thumb drive. This is my main hard drive up here for boot into Windows. I am not going to mess with this. Obviously, always make sure that you're using the drive that you mean to use. Otherwise, you could really have some problems. So here, I'm going to create partition. See that over there on the left? Create partition. And it gives me this slider here. So I'm going to leave 3 gig in the original. Whoop. This isn't good. Didn't mean to do that. This takes a little bit of fiddling, to say the least. All right, so 4. I don't want 4. I want 3. So 26.3, I guess. Let's see. There we go. Now you're going to say, of course, hey, that's still FAT32 over there. I actually have to do this in 2 steps. I have to partition the FAT32 partition into 2, and then I have to go and change the format of the second partition. So, okay. I suppose for safety, they force you to do this in 2 steps, so you click Apply. And now they have yet a 3rd step, just to be sure. They say shrink and create partition. So we shrink the original partition and create a new one in the remaining space. And it estimates 50 seconds for completion. Let's see if they achieve that. Are you sure you want to start? 4th safeguard. All right. And again, we're going to have to wait for this to complete. It's not going to happen instantaneously. Actually, if we take a look, yeah, I was going to double check to see what this looked like. You can see under the Windows file system, the flash drive is drive E because, of course, the main hard drive is C, the DVD RW is D, and so the new partition will be F. But as you'll see, I'm going to reformat it to ext4. It's not going to remain FAT32. Essentially, Windows will treat it as another drive. So basically, the one flash drive will count as 2 separate drives. But if you've done partitioning before, you know all this already. It started out really slow, and now it's zooming right along. If I'm remembering right, it hangs on 95 sometimes, but in this case, we got lucky. So congratulations. Now I'll show you one other thing in the meantime, before we do the next step. Here's this PC again. And if we look down here, we see the live thumb drive, bootable thumb drive. And we have the OS. And we have the DVD. And here, this looks like we have another drive, but in fact, this is the new partition. But this is in FAT32 format, FAT32 file system. So we're going to change this to ext4 next, but that will have to be in the next part.